See here, Nick. Are we gonna have? That's why she's the goat.
Hello.
Nick, you look gorgeous. I had to have you come on while you look. First off, you always look gorgeous.
Thank you.
You
Thanks
look.
for clarifying.
Yes, I did absolutely. Like you look fabulous every single day, and twice on Sundays. You look that good.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to have you on because I figure you look dressed up. Why are you so dressed up today? Just
I
because?
actually have on a cute dress today. Unusually, yes, it is a little bit unusual. You do see me in some yoga pants, here and there, but sometimes you see me in a suit too. I
Okay.
do have to dress up when I see clients, and today was one of those days.
Okay. How did the client meetings go?
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got to Zoom with a client that's in Argentina currently, an
Oh,
IT provider that I get to do a rebrand for.
okay. Oh, wow. Amazing. Oh, what was the time difference between Arizona and there?
I don't know. I didn't ask. That actually makes me feel bad that I was like not interested enough to be like, what time is it there for you? It was convenient for me, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely hilarious. I love the honestly, you so remind me of Anne Hathaway. I kid you not. Like you guys to be sisters.
I love that. I love that. I
Yeah,
love her.
yeah, I love her too. Also,
Do you know
Nick.
what I love about her is that she's not what you would consider like the conventionally hot chick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
She's somebody that you might swipe left on or whatever. But if you saw her, but you know what? It would grow on you, and the
yeah,
cuteness is like undeniable. And she's very smart. Obviously, it was a good cast to make someone like that Catwoman. You know what
yeah.
I
Oh
mean?
my gosh,
Because
yes.
that is just an undeniable intellect of sexiness, and people who are into that and into a natty baddie, as I like to call it,
And natty batty, natural
somebody
batty.
with
Oh,
no work done. Somebody with no work done could easily be Catwoman. It's all about the brains, and it's very beautiful. So yes, I'm giving Anne Hathaway, and I'm proud to.
yeah, man, you are giving Anne Hathaway. I saw like because you both remind me of each other, even though I've never met her. Just what I've seen her persona wise, even out in public, it just looks like you two would be like. I feel like you guys are like what kindred souls would probably be the word.
I love it.
Yeah. Also, Nick, one thing that me and my mom are doing, and I realized you have baby girl in the back.
Yes, little
Yeah. So,
Hayden.
oh, Hayden.
Yep,
How old is Hayden now, by the way?
she's like 13.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
how did Hayden become part of the family? Will you tell me that story?
Yes, Hayden, down here in Old Town, our PetSmart has the Maricopa County Shelter inside of it. And so if you go to the back of PetSmart, there's an adoption center, and those are county animals that have been rescued from all different types of scenarios, you know what I mean, as they usually are.
Yeah.
And they had a sale that day. And so Hayden, when we went in, with my little guy, who's now going to be 17 years old this summer, he was
Oh, it's
a
fun.
little guy then. Delano came with, and we bought Hayden for $20 that day. She was on sale.
Oh,
And so
okay.
we brought her home, and she's been like the best part of the family ever since. She's the best dog.
Oh my gosh, awesome! Yeah, Hayden, I like Hayden. I've hung out with her a few times. So
Yes, yeah, she's been with you through thick and thin.
yeah, she really is. Like, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. We mom came up with the idea of doing like a thing about our furry family, and it was just
Cute.
great. What's that?
That's cute.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was all my mom. Like, cause she's like, hey, Brandon, what do you think about this? I'm like, mom, that's actually excellent. So we've been getting people. So I wanted to hit that too while we were on here. So yeah, welcome. We're recording. Welcome to the Buckle Up Podcast universe with Brandon Rush today. Mama Rush is just got back from a long trip.
What's up, buckle up?
What's that? Oh, also, mom. Thank you. Mom said, "What does she like to eat?" She like to eat as well. Hayden.
Oh, Hayden, she's actually super spoiled. So she gets, I don't know, whatever the fresh dog food is, whatever brand that is, from the place where I get her hair done. It's
Okay.
called Bark If You're Dirty, and they have a spa inside a dog spa. So it's like half store with food and half dog spa. And they even have a doggy bakery where you can go and get doggy birthday cakes baked for your dog that are like in the colors that you want and have their name
Yeah.
on it and all of that. So yeah, she's
That's
spoiled.
legit. You just for PetSmart and what's the doggy bakery name? Pet
Bark If You're Dirty.
Bark If You're Dirty. So we have we hit 4.3 million viewers now. We're killing it.
Yeah.
You
I
just
would
did.
love for people to know about those places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So
cool place.
yeah. So Nick, you've gone there often. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that. Sorry, I wanted to make. Yeah, I might as well give them the free plug.
100%. So it's sweet young gals that are in there and they're doing spa treatments for dogs. They're doing hair and nails. They have refrigerated food that's like both frozen and raw. There's a lot of good things there, like healthy foods for dogs, toys, clothes, and the bakery, like I said, which is really cute, where you can get custom dog, cakes and treats made. And then in the back, they actually have a doggy spa where you can either drop your dog off to be washed or you can do it yourself.
Yeah,
You can
okay.
wash the dogs yourself, which I do. I wash Hayden myself and give her spa day myself.
Nice. Do you go, is it often like you go maybe like once a week, maybe 2 weeks
Once
or
a month. And I
okay.
bet that if you had a big dog, yeah, you would need to go more often, of course, but she's a little apartment dog. She just that, doesn't get covered in mud or run around outside often.
Well, thank you, Nick. That's I'm gonna cut that whole entire piece out. I'm gonna send it to him as well as I'm gonna give it to you so you can send it to him too. Because
Cool.
if they were looking for spokesperson, they have Nicole.
Oh my gosh, yeah, just the cutest dog mom ever in Scottsdale, of course.
Absolutely. And you might as well plug your business at it because this is what you do, isn't it? And that's kind of what you do.
Absolutely. So I own a marketing company, but I wouldn't say that I represent the private sector, which is what a dog, store would be, completely private retail. I don't work in any of that. I work in the public sector, which is government entities. So I would actually do marketing for school districts and cities, and then contractors that do public sector work. So restaurants, stores, all of the private sector. I actually still have yet to dig into because I haven't had the relationships there or the opportunities just yet. My whole career has been focused on government and public sector. But it really
Okay.
would be fun to work for a business like that, of course.
Yeah, well, we're gonna try our best. I think that like you would be the perfect person for it because you were so personable. Like I've never met a person that didn't love you anywhere you go.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
And it's true too. I'm not saying that just because you're my friend. I'm saying it because it's the actual truth.
I know. I'm that good. I'm incredible. It is what
Yeah.
it is.
Well, hopefully, well, Nick, what are some of the clients that you've worked with? That some of the things that you've enjoyed working with clients? Because you recently did a big, if you're allowed to talk about it, only if you're allowed to talk about it. You just did a big shoot at some kind of water park or something. Was that something that you're able to talk about?
I did totally. Okay, so like I said, I work in the public sector, and school districts and cities, government entities, they have to have strong brands to be competitive. There's neighborhoods and cities that you could probably think of, even where you live right now, that are just cooler than others, right?
Yeah.
Cooler restaurants, cooler neighborhoods. That's all actually not on accident. Neighborhoods and economic development entities actually invest in the brand perception of neighborhoods, and our tax dollars go to paying for the upgrades that requires. So let's say that you had some really cool public parks in your town
Mhm.
and you wanted your town to stand out as a tourist destination. Of course, your town wants that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Local taxpayers are on the hook every year for increasing their tax liability to pay for better roads, better parks, the infrastructure, to make the community more appealing to people who are going to move there and who are going to live there, pay taxes, and contribute to the local economy, right? They want to
Yeah.
attract people there. And so if local taxpayers get old, for lack of a better word, they age out of their
Yeah.
compassion for local facilities. Maybe they're so much older, 60 plus, a majority of the community, that they don't care about in what disrepair playgrounds are in. They don't care if community schools get more money. So they actually vote no on those tax
Oh, wow.
initiatives, so that the remaining amount of their nest egg isn't siphoned of what they believe into new community endeavors that maybe they don't believe in or understand. And so
Yeah.
they vote no, and that money doesn't go back into the community.
Oh,
It
wow.
doesn't help our schools. They don't build, the parks fall apart. And so
Yeah.
you see communities age to the point where they're beyond repair,
Yeah.
and they have a reputation for being old and crusty, and no one's moving there. People are leaving. And
Yeah.
economic development, the mayor, everybody that needs that community to thrive, starts to realize what a panic they're in, because they can no longer attract restaurants. They can no longer attract new businesses that bring employees and grow the community. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah. I
Putting
can.
their jobs on the line,
Yeah.
obviously. You know what
It
I mean?
does.
So they have to invest in a brand. Long story short, they have to know that their community can outperform others that people are thinking about moving to,
Yeah.
and that word and how they market themselves is out there to the world. Now,
Absolutely.
I live in one of the most recognizable cities in the nation, top 5, right? Like Scottsdale.
Yeah.
They have done an incredible job, you know what
Yes,
I
it
mean?
has.
Through awards and through recognition, through hosting the Phoenix Open, through,
Yeah.
you know, having the Cardinals. There's lots of things here that actually benefit Scottsdale and the Phoenix brand
Oh,
so
really?
that it impacts the entire nation. You know where Scottsdale is. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You really do.
Yeah.
And you know where Austin is, and you know where Miami is, you know,
Yeah.
and you know LA, and you know Chicago. Those types of places are really established, and learning from their brands is something that helps me in my business because I'm helping smaller cities that want to become
Yeah.
those entities grow and do the same things that they're doing, you know.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
utilizing technology to reach, you know, hundreds of thousands of folks. The city of Phoenix here, I don't know if you know, but they have over 100 social media pages
No, I
that
didn't.
they manage. The city of Phoenix alone manages over 100 of individual social media pages regarding everything that they do for the community.
Yeah.
Like water services has its own Facebook. You know, like everything, the police and fire, the libraries, you know,
Yeah.
economic development, the aviation department, all of those things have their own social media pages.
Really.
And so one contractor that works with the government that wants visibility with one public sector entity needs to know how to get posted on 100 different social media channels, essentially, with each of their clients.
That's
So
a lot.
it's a huge marketing endeavor, right? To establish those relationships, have good messaging that's interesting to people to where they want to develop a relationship with you,
Yeah.
and then consistently produce content so that you remain visible. Now, Brandon, we know how hard it is to be consistent. You of all
Yeah.
people, okay, you are the most dedicated, okay? Let me call City of Phoenix and be like, let me introduce you to my friend Brandon if you want to look at consistency and
Yes.
dedication, okay?
I'm the guy.
Because you are a shining star for that, okay,
Thank you, Nick.
clearly. It's
Yeah.
something that you can't force people to do. A natural interest in being consistent and reliable and showing up all the time is just something you can't force.
Yeah.
So clients can pay me to tell them how to do it, and I could tell them till I'm blue in the face, you know,
Yeah.
and they'll back out of opportunities. They'll get scared. They'll delay, you know what I mean, to the point where I know they just didn't want to take this further out of fear. You know, and I just want to
Yeah.
say I'm so proud of you for not doing that because you have such an incredible established audience that has been following you through this entire journey, and you had nothing to do to get them tuned in. They were tuned, you know, like they've been
Yeah.
tuned, you know what I mean? So you just had such an incredible market established already that that's truly the hopes and dreams of my clients too, is that their name precedes them, you know what I mean? But before
Absolutely.
that they start doing anything big and significant for their next chapter of investment. Some of the contractors and a lot of the contractors I work with in the government are older than me, and they're looking for a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
They want to know whether they're going to sell their company, whether they should be marketing to an M&A firm and thinking about mergers and acquisitions, or if they're looking at their heart and soul in it, you know, and they want to be in it until they're 80, 90 years old. They want to, you know, let their last day, they leave that office and go home and die. Like that's
Yeah.
what they want because they just love it so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That they
and they're
never
passionate.
consider selling or, you know, an absorption opportunity or whatever. And I ask those kind of things right away, what their goals are. And
Yeah.
all the marketing that I do for them just helps them reach those goals, you know,
Oh,
their
absolutely.
personal goals. So
Nick, oh my gosh, Nick, will you say, before I even say what I'm going to say next, outside of you being absolutely amazing about what you just did there, will you say the name of your company so people can reach you?
yes, my company's name, John Delano Marketing. John Delano Marketing.
Okay, and then you actually might need to spell Delano for everybody because I know everybody doesn't know how to spell Delano.
That's okay. John is John, and Delano is Delano. John Delano.
Okay, and thank you so much, Nick. And also, do you know, is there a website or something they can reach you out as well?
Of course, you can go to john-delano.com.
Thank you, and one more time for the back of the room.
john-delano.com.
Absolutely, Nick, you were amazing. I love the fact that, first off, everything you just said there is more knowledge than I've ever heard from anybody in my lifetime that you just dropped on a dime. You weren't planned. This wasn't planned.
No script. I know it's tough.
Yeah, but you were naturally gifted at this. You were born to do this. That's why you have your own business, and like that's why you continue to get work, and that's why people continue to go to you. But
absolutely.
Like, yeah. And have you seen the movie? I've mentioned this when I have guests on from time to time to remind me. First off, you got the whole entire Sandra Bullock thing going. Let's get that straight. But
Sandra and Anne Hathaway.
you got both. I'm talking about Sandra
it.
in like Speed and like Demolition Man.
Mm-hmm.
But so what I had to say is, was, sorry, you ever seen My Cousin Vinny?
Of course.
All right, you know when Joe Pesci asked Marissa Tomei to go into the stand, the defense is wrong.
Of course. Oh
That
yeah.
was it's not the Buick Skylark, and then she goes through the whole
No, it
entire
was
thing.
not the Buick Skylark.
Exactly. That was you just now. Like literally, you literally just nailed off everything, and like everybody that if we were on trial right now, everybody in the audience, even the lawyer would have been like,
Gavel.
yeah. And so you remember he asked the like the guy that's supposed to know that. He's like, Mr. Beto or whatever, Miss Beto, you've been amazing. He's like, she's kind of cute too. To the guy, he's like, yeah, very. And so
of course.
that's totally you all the way. You got
that'd be my movie moment for sure.
Absolutely. So Nick, like I think that what you do is amazing. The fact that I've never seen someone come on the spot like that. And,
Thank you.
And I said, it wasn't planned. I just asked you those questions, and like anybody would be lucky to hire you, which is why I wanted you to say the name of your company. And as I said, that was no script. You literally dropped off that information that was so important, but that's how knowledgeable you are at that.
Yeah, we've actually been on the phone for hours sometimes just talking about different ideas that I want to do and implement for my clients, but that maybe all of us are nervous about because we're not used to doing it. It's new to our industry,
Absolutely.
which social media is. You know, the public sector and general contracting is pretty slow to be successful on social media because they see it as kind of the same thing day in and day out, that hard work, you know what I mean, that you're seeing those scenes out there. It's difficult and it's dangerous for those folks to have their phones out. You know what I mean? So clearly they aren't capturing those amazing moments. And that's why contractors that invest in it are getting really cool drone aerial footage, awesome action footage on the ground. And the guys aren't responsible for doing that themselves. And that's how they're really able to stand out. If they just can't pull their phone out in the moment doing something so unsafe on scaffolding on the top of a 20-story building while operating a crane, even though they have the best vantage point for it, that's why that particular industry has been slow to grow, is because of the personal viewpoint that people are lacking on. And so that's why, you know, ones that invest in marketing are growing super fast for that reason. It is really cool what's going out, you know, on out there at a job site. So now they get to see it.
And Nick, one of the things you mentioned, you do drone operating.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you tell us a little bit about how you got in the drone operation you did? That was also with the thing you did at the water park. You did that too.
Absolutely. So I was the drone operator that day, and my team was on the ground. I had a photographer and videographer there that day because the water park, a contractor here, so let me back up, a contractor here that does HVAC named Chaz Roberts Plumbing had 1,800 employees for an employee appreciation day and bought out the water park. So pretty cool, ton of appreciation there and gratitude. And they wanted to capture that in something that they would show potential employees in the future that were thinking about coming to Chaz Roberts, maybe even in something that featured a careers page or something like that that had this cool event. Absolutely. So we did all of the photography, videography, B-roll, and aerial footage with my drone. Sliced it all together and produced a commercial for them that they are going to put on TV at some point, you know. So I'm excited about that. Excited to see it wherever it's published. For you. Yeah. And so working with contractors for them to tell their story is also, you know, a number one priority for them because it drives retention. People want to stay, you know, at a job that they feel appreciated at, you know, and respected and understood. They want to stay. It's really costly to onboard and, you know, have turnover the way that the construction industry does because people don't realize how hard the work is. So I'll say the turnover will be high forever because it's not for everyone. You know, to be on a hot roof or to be out there swinging a hammer. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the turnover will always occur, but when you get those hardworking, dedicated folks, you want them to stay. You know, and so employee appreciation and retention endeavors are super important in my industry, and that commercial was a really fun way to do that. You know, to capture everybody's kids having fun together, and the female business owner was a third generation owner, and she got to tell her story on camera too, which made me feel like girl power. You know, I love amplifying that voice as a female business owner was really fun too. Absolutely. So you asked me how I got started in that. Yeah. And you and I have been friends for so long that you know some personal, you know, stories about me and ups and downs in my life. And I learned from Pauly Shore. Oh, and wow. So let me clarify before I say Pauly Shore online and everybody's like, you learned to operate a drone from Pauly Shore. No. Not that Pauly Shore, but there's another one.
I give a nickname too.
Yes, an ex of mine who happens to resemble Pauly Shore quite unfortunately,
Yeah.
is the one that taught me how to operate my drone. He was a hobby drone operator, and
Okay.
because he, had free time on his hands and had a really good job, he actually invested in a ton of really cool modern electronics.
Oh, wow.
And a current DJI Pro was a drone that he had just as a hobby drone. But
Okay.
that actually has the capacity to fly commercial projects and withstand wind at incredible heights. And it's
Oh,
really
wow.
an awesome device, right?
Yeah.
And so just for fun, he took me out to learn how to fly it. And I immediately knew that it would be a money-making opportunity for my business. And
Yeah.
that even though I needed to pursue the licensure with the FAA, that learning how to fly it would be beneficial to me and I could do it whenever, wherever, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up buying my own device after a couple of months of a few like hobby flights with him, and then charged my first flight $1,000 for one day.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I want to put that out there, even
Yeah.
though somebody may think I'm charging 5,000. There may be people out there that are like, think that that's a small amount, right? But I want to tell you, from anybody that's out there freelancing, selling creative services, to make $1,000 a day to go out and operate, a drone,
It's a lot.
download the footage and send it over to the client is lucrative. I want,
Yeah.
I want to, encourage anybody that's young and thinking about, value-based ways to add to your creative business. That would be one of them, because I have instantly been able to add to my margin, do really fun things, travel with the drone, and produce content that I'd never be able to do before if I had to rely on someone else. Because
Absolutely.
I am the operator, and I would have never been able to spend $1,000 a day on the other operator. And so, what I was able to do instantly is put myself into the margin recipient, role, and be able to make all of that money, and more. You know what I mean? Having other operators now. So yeah, it's a huge suggestion, for anybody that's young and thinking about new fun ways to make money, is to operate a drone. So 250 grams is the weight that you have to be under to operate a drone without an FAA license. Ooh. It's called sub 250G, this group of drones. So if you have a sub 250G drone, you can fly it around wherever, tool it around. It goes to maybe to about 35 stories or so.
Okay.
It's next to your phone, and that validates that you are the operator or whatever through DJI. They know it's you.
Yeah.
If you do anything, whatever, troublesome, you know what I mean? And that's subjective, so you can get in trouble at any time for anything, you know what I mean? They don't know what you're doing, So having a license doesn't deter the police from making you leave or confiscating your device or any of those things. Drone operators have very little to no rights,
Yeah.
So
wow.
What you want to be doing is flying a hobby drone if you don't have a license, one that you can get at like Costco or Best Buy or whatever. And inside of it is a little SD card, just like a camera. So whenever you're recording out there in the sky, when you bring it back down, you pop that little SD card out and put it in a computer, and you have all the footage. And it's that simple. It works just like a camera.
Nice.
And that's really all you need to know.
Yeah. Well, Nick, there's two things I want. First off, you're amazing. As I said, I feel like Danny DeVito and my cousin Benny on you, Marissa Tomei. I want to say this just in case anyone hears it. I gave Pauly Shore the name. I have a history of giving people names.
This is Brandon's idea.
Yeah. I don't want to put that. That's not on Nick. That's on me. I'm the one that gave. He looked like Pauly Shore to me. So anytime someone looks like somebody, I've done this for decades. Well, not decades, like two. If someone looks like the person, I say that. So I just want to say that it's not Nick out there. It's me that gave him the nickname. So Pauly Shore, it's all good. What's up, Weasel?
Would you ever see Anne Hathaway and Pauly Shore together? No. So obviously I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, absolutely. You did. But there's three things I want to hit, Nick. One, I always say, just because we're doing a little relationship thing here, but I'm not going to go deep into it. I always felt that you always learn from every relationship and dating that you're in. I don't want to get too dragged down that thing for a second, but because there's more important stuff I have to say with you. But you always learn something from every relationship. One thing that you said
in a positive way, not even just negative, life lessons, but truly skills that have impacted me and helped me grow. I have gotten from everyone that I've been lucky to spend time with.
Me too. Ditto, right? Ghost style. So what I wanted to say was this. You mentioned, which is something that we can do together. You mentioned the fact that you were saying that there are business owners that want to get their stories out there. I think you said something along those lines.
Absolutely.
And Nick, here is the perfect opportunity, which we can do together. Okay. Because I have 4,370,000 followers, 4,370,000 followers. Anyone that hears that number, and we're in 13 countries right now. Nick, you can I will be your co-chair, meaning that you're the lead of it and I'll be the co-chair. You can go to those business owners and tell them, hey, look, I have a podcast known as the Buckle Up Podcast where we're able to get your story out worldwide. My friend, what's that?
That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, my friend Brandon Rush has been in 77 TV shows, movie, and counting, and he has his podcast.
77?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm killing it. By God's good grace. You should
be proud, man. You should be proud.
Thank you, Nick. But I just said I'll be your co-chair. So when it comes to business, when you're out there making those business deals, you let them know, hey, like, look, I know that we can get your story out on a bigger level. Yeah, you get good. I didn't know I had to even have the convention. So I'm your co-chair. But Nick, as of right now, you just let me know, hey, B, like, look, I got a guy to come on. We can do it via Zoom, or you can be inside person, and we can do that on a global scale.
Agreed. Do you know what I love so much about your platform and seeing the type of views that you're getting is because those folks, I believe that the age range that you are interesting is the ones that benefit the most from messages like ours. They're absolutely in a really tender time where they need inspiration. I can't tell you 10 years ago how important online influencers were to me, to be honest. They didn't shape my shopping behavior. It wasn't like that. And they didn't shape my personality or maybe even the way I dressed or, behaved or whatever. What they shaped me in is my ideals and morals truly on a deeper level. They inspired me remember what I said, consistency and dedication. You know what I mean? Of course, they were online constantly, very, very consistent and, reliable to me when I needed it most, when I needed those messages every day. Where maybe even somebody like me at that, influential age might have needed a family member really in my life more than anything. You know what I mean? I needed a real person, but truly all I had was, somebody online that were telling me these important things that almost sounded like they were meant for me. Yeah. And some of those people were like Grant Cardone was a big one, for me, that was a huge influence every single day. Gary Vee was somebody that was every single day coming out with different content that was focused on self-development and entrepreneurship and cutting through the noise and focusing on yourself. More manifesting than anything. There wasn't a lot of spirituality stuff there, but it was every single day. I'm getting messaging about staying on track and staying focused and cutting through the noise and, not letting anything deter me from my goals. How to even, articulate my vision to people, how to develop relationships and keep them, how to invest in relationship, not just development, but keeping, what I mean? And then I started to follow Brad Leah and Pastor Kim. Brad Leah?
I don't know Brad Leah. I watch David Jeremiah, who's my guy.
Exactly. Okay, so super similar, right? Where they're crossing the world of professional and personal. There's things there where they start talking about what your heart wants, what you want for your children, what you believe in, how faith impacts you. And I loved that messaging. That became the most impactful to me. You know what I mean? When I could see people every day talking about maintaining your dreams for marriage at the forefront, your love for God at the forefront, and normalizing that. Because I realized that offline in my day-to-day interactions, I wasn't able to connect with people about God or my goals. You know what I mean? With true authenticity. And it was so infrequent that it almost felt like I needed that every single day. And I'm so grateful for them. So long story short, if I got to be that person, you know what I mean? If I got to be that person, long story short, and it was even a 10-second thing that a young person saw and heard me say, if that soundbite changed them in any way, the same way that they did to me back in the day, I do believe it was impactful. I do believe it made a change in that moment and inspired me and motivated me and strengthened me. And it would be cool to be that for other people. It really would.
This is day one of you starting that today.
It's done, yes. The message is getting out there. Now, I would love to inspire folks, but all of the clients that I work with do have really interesting brand stories. They are not snoozers, obviously. They're really cool folks that I've had a blast working with. And so I think that all of them would see the same type of value, in the exposure, the same way that I do. So I'm excited to spread the word.
Absolutely. And Nick, and so you'll talk to him and be like, hey, Brandon, like I got a client. I guess technically it would be a client or a guest now. Just let him know, like, hey, me and my friend Brandon, his family, we got this thing that's big. It's huge. It can't be stopped, actually.
Yeah.
And then here's the other thing.
You are family for sure. You are family. With my kids, with me over the years, I've been so grateful to have you in my life because there's been some really clutch moments where I felt like I wasn't understood and what I was doing was so challenging, difficult, expensive. It was hard to see the reasoning in it beyond, my own dreams. And just having one other person that thought that dream was realistic and worth going after, it made all the difference. You know what I mean? It really, really did.
Well, thank you, Nick. On that note, I have to also say, when my father died of pancreatic cancer, I was devastated and crushed in a deep thing of depression that I can't even, because grief hits you very hard. You called me almost every day on FaceTime. It wasn't a call, actually. It was a
I
FaceTime.
know.
So without you, you helped me get out of that grief. You helped me get back to myself because I wasn't myself anymore. So I want to say thank you to you, because I didn't really my mom did the best that she could, but she was grieving too at losing my dad. But you were there for me. You called every day. I feel like it was every day or even multiple times throughout the day.
Totally. Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, you'd FaceTime. So you've been a blessing to me too. Also, every time I've gone to Scottsdale, you've been like, Brandon, you can crash here if you need to. Like, you're more than welcome to.
Totally.
And
I
so,
have the coolest house. It's meant to be, it's meant to be enjoyed.
yeah, I take up the whole thing. So I thank you so much for that, and I wanted to mention that to you. So you are an inspiration to me, and we obviously also have our great karaoke singing that we do. Actually, I'm not the karaoke singer. Starship, nothing's gonna stop us now.
So, well, we can't give them a rendition now. You know
Yeah,
what I
no, we're not ready.
So when you come to Scottsdale, walk to a Grapevine. I was curious about whether, like, if you saw, let's say, if you were on a dating site or something like that, and you saw a girl singing karaoke, what would you think about that if she added that video?
I'd be down, and here's the reason I'd be down. I am attracted to confidence. I love it. Any girl that has confidence wins with me automatically. Now, it doesn't mean that you by confidence, I mean this. If you're able to, and I'm not trying to even put myself, I'm not on any kind of pedestal or anything like that, but for a person who's wanting to get on stage, yeah, thank you, Nick. Anytime I find confidence the most attractive thing to me. I can even be saying hello. If you were like, hey, like a hello, I've had times where girls have said like, hey, my friend over here wants to talk to you. And I said, well, why am I going to talk to your friend when you're right here? I think that what you've done is amazing. Oh yeah, I ended up dating a girl for 2 years that said the exact same thing. Literally, she was trying to hook me up with her friend, and I was like, wait, you're the one that came up to me. I think you're cute. So yeah. So but going back to what you said with if a girl put on karaoke on her dating site, I would think that's amazing, because look at so many people in our lifetime, everybody is afraid to be embarrassed, is afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. Even singing for me is not my comfort zone. You don't see me going up there like you do, working the whole entire crowd. So that's outside of my comfort zone. So, but for a girl that would go up there and do karaoke, I have the utmost respect for and credit for, and I love that kind of confidence, just like you have. So,
yes, I love it.
And if anyone had a problem with that, then guess what? They aren't for you, because you don't need to. I think it was like the Panama Canal, where it has a water level that raises up. Right. Thank you. You need someone. Thank you. You're going to need someone that's going to meet you at that level. You can't have someone that's going to bring you down.
At the Panama. No, yeah, we need,
that was a reference right there. You need someone that's going to meet you. And with couples from time to time, you can be like a little bit different, but you got to be able to meet on the same level. So you can come out, Mom, if you need to. My mom, say hello to Nick.
I just got home.
Mama Rush.
Yeah, she just got home and she's worn out. She got about 2 hours of sleep in 3 days. My cousin graduated from Wake Forest, so she was at her graduation. But awesome. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Ashley. Congratulations. So that's my cousin. But yeah, Nick. So any guy that you would want, a guy that wants to meet you on that same level, a guy who's not insecure about who you are. If they're insecure, if you're around guys, that's a problem. You don't need to be with them. If they are insecure about how much money you make, what your job is, then you don't need to be with that person anyway. I call that person, those type of guys are losers in my book. And there's a lot of them out there. So that's not what you want. You want that guy that sees that and says, hey, you know what? This girl sings. Let's see what else she can do.
So true. So true. So, I have had, a recent person in my life be a tinge intimidated, about the things that I was achieving. And it did lead to the end of us dating. But I would say that with my last month or two, maybe it's been super new of giving dating sites a try.
Yeah.
And of course, let me back up and say I'm a reverend. I graduated ministry school. I'm a super churchy gal. Okay. So I'm going to have references to God, obviously, somewhere here and there. You know what I mean? And I've noticed that unfortunately is the biggest turnoff for guys right now. I think that there's a lack of confidence and faith.
Yeah.
And that there's been more questions and negativity and kind of disconnect over the fact that I'm let's praise God together on Sundays. One of them says what a typical Sunday is like, one of the prompts on Hinge. It says a typical Sunday for me. And I'm looking cute, praising God
Yeah.
and doing things for you.
Amen.
You know, and
What's wrong with that?
I know it sounds like pure perfection.
Yeah,
So some
exactly.
people are like, cannot press yes fast enough. I can tell that they are like really excited to talk to me, and they see this a traditional gal that's got her head on straight.
Yeah,
You know,
which
and
is
then
rare.
there's other guys that are like, what? Tell me more about your beliefs. Do you believe in the stories? I mean, Jonah didn't really get swallowed by a whale, did he? Yeah, like there's guys that are, and I'm like, I wasn't at Jonah's party that night. I don't know what to say to this. You know what I mean? This conversation, but I can tell that it's not positive. You know what I mean? And it's more curious. It's more like negative curiosity than positive. And so that's been a super bummer for me as far as like my recent dating adventures is that has been a disconnect. And so I'm looking forward to finding somebody that's like full of faith and that absolutely is, you know, attracted to that. There's been a couple of really cool folks that I've been chatting with. I think I just need to get over my fears of actually meeting them. Remember, I told you I watch too much true crime and I end up getting too scared to actually meet up because I don't want to be on the news. I light up the room, Brandon. It's the ones that die that light up the room. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if I'd be loved by all. I'm a single mother. I'm all of these things that would make for great press.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I feel like I'm on the chopping block with that one, you know, like they have my photo and it would be drastic.
But here's the cool, all right, couple of things you hit there. I'm going to do about that. You be in the, my mom watches all those things, like all those like little true crimes. And the thing is, it happens all the time. My mom watches those every single day. So you have to be protective. But I also see you, that girl in the scary movie that like survives, where you have like the wife beater on or whatever. And you have like the bandage wrap, you got the blood going. And then somehow you get like a shotgun and you protect. That's you.
Yeah, it turns. I'm Sigourney Weaver. I think that you're getting.
Aliens.
Yeah, you're getting. Yeah, that's it. 100%. I'm in. No, it's the Long Kiss Goodnight. I'm giving. I'm giving Gina Davis Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yes.
You and I are hanging out. All of a sudden, I go into the bathroom. I come out short, blonde, and I have a gun. Randomly, you know, but she does that with box dye in the bathroom of a hotel or something like that, like in a lobby hotel. That was so good. And then she ice skates across a frozen lake.
Yes, she does.
Do you remember? Like all of that coolness happened. Yes. And that's totally me.
Nick, here's what I love, because they usually kill off the black guy every time in scary movies, but I'm gonna make a Long Kiss Goodnight reference with this. I gotta be like Samuel Jackson when she's on the bridge, like all beat up and dying. Can someone help me? Is there anyone out there? And then Samuel Jackson pops up. She's like, is there a mother effer out there that can help me? Quoting him. And then he's like, down. And he drives out his bed. He's like, you can't kill me, mother effers. And like, that is, I'll be your Samuel Jackson character any day of the week.
Good. Thank you. Driving in the car. Oh my God.
Bloody. He's all like bloody. And he saves her. He saves her.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So I had to make that, because you made that reference. You know me, we do
totally.
all the time.
Of course.
The second part though,
we're the biggest movie nerds ever. Just so that people, you know, should know. That's a big deal though, and it's very important. The sign of huge intellect to remember all these movies. Okay, we have millions of movie parts and lines in our head right now, like millions.
we do. And I love your mom, but you two can ruin a movie. I love your mom. But like,
shout out to Yolanda.
I love your mom. But yeah, I remember the one movie that was depressing. I'm glad she did, because the whole entire movie was depressing. Oh, this happens. Wait, what? And this happens too. It was like the Mel Gibson movie with John Boyd, I think it was.
Which one?
When I stayed at you guys, when you're at your other place, when I stayed there and your mom was in town, I was supposed to stay like a day and I ended up staying like a week.
Mel Gibson movie? That sounds depressing. Why were we so depressed?
Because it was just sad. Like they had the bank robbery, he gets shot at the end. So it's just, but I want to back up the one thing you said on the dating thing. I'll talk about the movie thing later. We'll do that again. If a guy has a problem with you being a Christian or anything like that, or being religious, then once again, that's not your person, because not the right fit. If you have, I don't, like I said, I've dated girls that are religious, some that are religious, some that aren't religious, some that have lost religion because they've lost family members. And I don't put my religion on anybody. Like, you know, I'm a man of faith. I know, because of the things I've accomplished in my lifetime and where my life is at, even though I found difficulty when my dad died, I did have my doubts during that time. But if a guy has a problem with that, well, what are you doing on Sunday? You pray. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. But that is weeding out the weak ones. And that's right. You are weak. If a man has a problem with you wanting to, any guy that tries to hold you back, once again, that level thing. If religion's a problem, well, then I don't need you, because at the elevation that I'm going, don't need you. Yeah. So, no, you're making the right decision. It's good to weed out the ones that you need to weed out. It's better than finding out and being like those documentaries where you had these psychopaths that are killing their. Every single time has been that these girls get killed by their either the girl ends up getting beat up profusely, or the girl gets killed by this person. I mean, there's some sad ones out there.
I know.
So you got to be careful. You have to be careful out there in the dating game. So yeah, no, you're making the right decision.
I've been learning more about how to safely date, because I don't think that that's even something that's out there. You know what I mean? Very often, or like accessible for women, is like doing a little bit of due diligence or whatever. You know what I mean? On the people that you're talking to. I never was prior, and just realized how naive I am, really. You know what I mean? All the way to being this age, just now finding out about like resources that there are for that, to look people up and stuff.
Yeah. Well, Nick, will you actually speak on that? Because I had a friend, Kayla Parker, who's she's helped me out. She's like the Miami chapter. We're doing some stuff with her in the Miami chapter. Yeah, you're the Arizona chapter. She's the Miami chapter. In fact, I'm gonna have you both on to talk about this dating thing. She was talking about different ways to be safer. Like she only meets guys. She meets guys out in public, which is smart. But she's one of those people like, hey, we don't have to go on a date to some fancy restaurant. She said she's cool with Topgolf, which there's amazing Topgolf in Arizona. Yeah. And she said that she's cool with meeting for coffee. And what I love about her saying that is like, that shows me like just like you, Kayla's gorgeous too. You guys are both gorgeous women. You guys are both not shallow. There are shallow people out there that, take me to the fancy dinner and all that. She's like, no.
Of course, yeah.
And I know you like that coffee place you've been going to. What's that coffee place? Is that Starbucks?
I'm going to show you right now.
Okay.
That's so funny, because I love Black Rock.
Oh, Black Rock. Yes. Wait. Yeah. So might as well give them a plug too. Tell me about Black Rock.
I actually wish I knew something cool about this place's brand story, but there's young, hip people in there. The vibes are immaculate inside. I get ground coffee from there fresh to make at home too in my French press, but it doesn't taste as good as going through the drive-thru. And so I really do love Black Rock coffee. Okay. Every other day, maybe I'm there for a hot Irish coffee, and it's good.
Irish coffee? Do they put Baileys in it?
No, it's not like that. It's not like a bar one. It's like real Irish coffee with Breve or whatever that is. You know, Irish cream. It's good.
And it's called Black Rock?
Yep, Black Rock coffee.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to try some of this Black Rock coffee.
You're gonna love it. So what got us on that subject though?
Because I mentioned because we're talking about
going on coffee dates. Okay, this is a really good one. Go on a coffee date to Black Rock. It'll be good day or night. Just so everybody knows that. Let me give them, a little shout out. Yeah. But for two, I actually don't like prearranged dates at all. And when a guy can sense that I'm having a difficult time committing to them saying vague things, let's get together, what's your schedule, things like that, I don't put that information out there, unfortunately. I don't know if I am not 100% dialed in with being a sharer of personal information just yet, but I've noticed that I'm maybe the difficult person that it is to hammer down. And so, to get a date planned. And so I've noticed that if I don't act interested in the first thing they suggest, they'll like up it, to something better or whatever, like something cooler. And that's when they'll offer like the cool restaurant or whatever, something like that. You know what I mean, here in town. And so on those occasions, I know that they are trying to seal the deal, right? And I do appreciate that they are trying to, elevate my experience for that to happen, and that they're trying to like whatever, work on getting me out. But to be honest, if somebody just said, I would love to, let's go get our dogs together and go on a walk, or, you know what I mean? Something like that. It would never have to cost money ever, but I would appreciate them wanting to get to know me. And I think that those kind of activities that you do together are a little bit distracting. So I went on an awesome date at Topgolf, and I noticed that when I got there, I'm a golfer.
Yeah.
So I instantly dialed in on winning and playing and my form and, how I'm standing and keeping track of, my points and everything and beating the guy. Unfortunately, I turned into like a competitive person. Yeah. And I could tell that completely deterred any conversation that we would have had authentically together, because I talked about golf, I love golf. And so we talked about that. We talked about different courses. We talked about traveling to play. We talked about club styles. We talked about my favorite golf outfits. And I realized that was an entire conversation about something that we both love. Yeah. But personally, it lacked connection afterwards. And we were like, oh, we need another date, because I don't even think that I asked you where you live or, what you do or anything. You know what I mean?
But you were have a good time in the moment.
It was a great time. And for people that are looking for something that's actually low pressure and where you don't have those types of emotional conversations, it would be perfect for that. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't time or a way for us to authentically connect there. But we had a blast together. And so, yeah, that's a good opportunity for that. But I think that I would much rather have the least amount of distractions. So when a waitress and waiter are constantly coming over, to check on you or take your plates or ask for your drink, those are actually unnecessary distractions to like the nuances you're trying to pick up on, you know what I mean, with the person in the short amount of time that you have. And so sometimes I would just really prefer something else where it's just us. And so sometimes I'll ask, like, if they live in an apartment complex, if they go down to their pool or gym, and that maybe I could stop by for an hour and, swim at the pool or go to their gym or whatever,
Perfect.
And so that's a quick, healthy, something we both need to do, where we can talk one-on-one, but the activity is there. It just has less distractions than like something you're truly committed to. So I found that like dog walk, pool time, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff has worked out well for a first date. But I've noticed that it can be internalized if you don't want the second date, like what it was that went wrong the first time.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have a chance to, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Trust me or whatever. Like, oh, before I got to take her out, she saw me with my shirt off and never talked to me again. Like I can tell that that's like caused a little bit of a scramble. Like what happened, And I'm like, I promise that it was just you either lived too far away or we didn't connect authentically about topics that we care about, or you don't have kids and right now you're lying about being okay with that. But I know that that guy wants more kids and that he's hoping I'll change my mind or secretly hoping, you know what I mean? And that I like to let those people go right away because I'm not going to change my mind. And you know what I mean? I don't believe a 35-year-old guy that says, I just haven't had kids yet. I guess maybe it's not in the cards for me. I'm like, you sound sad and childless. Please go have some kids. You know what I mean? Like, because it's super sad, when you hear that it wasn't truly their life choice and then it just hadn't happened yet. I never have another date with those folks because I know that we're wasting each other's time. You know what I mean? For our true desires. So
absolutely. No, I love that. Nick, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I got to make sure that I don't accidentally say this girl's name by accident. But I got to be really careful. So there was this girl that I really liked. Like we always had a connection. From the first time I saw her, I was in love with her at the time. Actually, I fell for her hard and fell in love with her. But this is back in 2017, right before I'm about to go to New York to establish my career in New York City. I got to make sure I don't say her name. I'm going to be really careful. So I'm literally, we keep running into each other. I get back from being, I was filming somewhere. I was filming in Atlanta, get back. I'm walking in Westwood and somebody screams outside the car and it's this girl. And I'm like, she's like, hey, Brandon, that was me. Just so you know, she's like, hey, come to this, come to this bar tonight. I'm going to be down there. I'm on this side of town. The girl went to USC. I can at least say that. The other
is this somebody that I have talked to recently?
Oh, no. It's not. No, it's not. I don't think I've ever mentioned it. Carter knows the girl because I can never shut up. I can never back in the day shut up about her. But so we go.
Oh my gosh, I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to say the indicator because we also had a nickname, didn't we?
No, not this one. I don't think I've ever mentioned this one before. I really don't. I'm just 20. This
Go on then.
Yeah. So we end up. I go out and meet her out that night. We end up like kissing that night. And she's like, "Hey, Brandon, just ask me out on a just ask me out on a date. Just ask me out on a date." I am literally like, I'm being dumb. I'm being naive. I'm like, I'm leaving, and it's getting closer and closer. So hey, Brandon, like all you got to do is just ask me out on a date. I end up. Like it gets closer. It ends up going all the way to the day I'm about to leave. We keep running into each other out and about, see each other. Things are great. The day I'm about to leave, I'm like, hey, like I really like to see. I almost said her name. Ooh. I said, hey, I really like to see you. I really like to see you today because I'm leaving for New York and it means a lot to me to see you. And she goes and says, Brandon, I'm studying for my real estate test right now, but I'll see you afterwards. Then she changed and said, you know what, Brandon, screw it. I'm gonna come see you right now. She stopped everything she was doing, which meant the world to me. She came over and I was like, because I was gonna take her to lunch or something. She's like, I'm like, what would you like to eat? She's like, Brandon, I'm cool with either ribs, fried chicken, and she is Caucasian. So this girl happens to be Caucasian. I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't matter what your color is.
Like, it was white chicks?
What's that?
She got down with you with some ribs, like white chicks?
Yeah, well, we didn't have ribs, so she was like, hey, I'm down for fried
chicken. She said, perhaps not.
Yeah. Anyway, so she said she was down for fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. So yeah, right. So she came over to my place. We got fried macaroni and cheese, and we got fried macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese and fried chicken. It was delicious. We hit it off. We really hit it off. And she's like, hey, Brandon, will you come meet some of my friends? Which sometimes girls have you meet the friends to see if they approve of you. We hit it off so hard, and like we spent time together, and I ended up having to leave. I still have that on camera that day. Like whenever we spent time together, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I think I'm in love with this girl. And I went over to New York, and
is this video right now like one of those Craigslist like missed connections, and if
Oh,
she's
no, no, no,
watching
no,
this right now,
yeah,
if
it's not.
she's watching this right now, is she supposed to reach out?
No, no, no. Well, I mean, she
She'll
can't.
know it's her. She'll know it's her by describing this right now.
Oh,
So
no, it's all good. So I go to New York. I'm literally thinking about it the whole entire time. I'm playing Beauty and the Beast. I was the one who had it all. You know that song, right? Maybe not.
yeah.
So anyway, go to New York. I'm thinking about it the whole entire time. I'm like, how's the fact that I fall for the girl of my dreams right when I leave? I didn't even realize it was her. So she ends up going back. She gets back together with her boyfriend. But some time passes, and a week before Valentine's Day, we end up going out on a date again. I took her to a restaurant, and we had a blast at a restaurant, and I stood up in front of everybody. There's probably like 1,000 people there. I was like, this is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my lifetime. Instead of this whole entire big speech, she loved it, and we ended up having a great night all together. So point of that story was this. I love the fact that she was down to earth enough to come over that day, and it was daytime, just come over that day and be like, hey, I'm down to have fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. She's a Southern girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that happened in LA. So that's just like one of those things where those random, it's not a misconnection because I'm still friends with her. We're still friends. But yeah, we're still friends.
Chicken dream?
What's
Where
that?
Is she? Where are you? I want to meet you because I'm more like Brandon's sister. I'm more like the sister-in-law that you'll get, the family that you get. Anybody that marries Brandon, I will be your sister-in-law. So just so you know. Obviously I need to know if this is still a tindering thing, you know.
No, it was 2017. It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
That's not that long ago.
Yeah, it actually really isn't. But I was just mentioning that story because just when it comes to different things with dating, I don't suggest that girls always go into a person's place, but she happened to know me.
Yeah.
And like we had built up, she known me for years.
I just had an awesome dog walk today, and I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I have a hard time allowing people to do things for me because I'm independent. I don't want to seem needy, you know, and so I'm a giver to a fault. Have a hard time being a receiver, but the feminine is supposed to receive. There's a reason, you know, that I am the feminine and that the masculine is supposed to give, you know, our parts indicate the receiver and the giver, right? You know what I mean? Like that's just God given. It's the truth, right? So I have a hard time, you know what I mean, allowing that, even though I know it's my divine, you know, gift. Yeah. And so I really want to let people do nice things for me today, just so I can say a really awesome, hot entrepreneur that I've been chatting with for a couple of weeks. I finally decided to give a super quick, you know, hangout time to. What did I say? I'm so limited. I gave this person 20 minutes. Yeah. And said that if you can meet me for this 20 minutes or whatever, this is the time that I have, which is on the green belt right here. You know what I mean? On a nice walking path. Yeah. And he offered to bring me a green juice because he was out getting breakfast. And I was already at Black Rock. And I said, no, thank you. I'm getting coffee, right? Yeah. And so I thought, I'm alleviating this guy of, you know what I mean, going out of his way for me. And I'm already independent. I'm taking care of myself or whatever. Yeah. Most girls would think that that's actually like an advantage, you know, but I actually stopped him from doing what he wanted to do. He wanted to bring me a juice and do something kind. And I shut that down. I could tell that in the moment right there, it took away the special thing that he was trying to do for me. And then it was like an awkward meetup. He wanted to give something to me for our meetup. You know what I mean? He wanted to bring something to me. And since I took that away on accident, you know what I mean?
Don't beat yourself up.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm learning that next time I'm going to allow anybody, you know what I mean, that asks to realize that that's what they want to do. It's making them happy or else they wouldn't offer. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Allow that masculine energy into my life and just receive when, you know, the Lord presents it, you know, it to be done. And I'm so grateful that happened. And it was a good lesson learned to remember my feminine and be like, yes, that would be really nice to get a juice. Did I really need it in the moment? No, but it would have been nice to have. I should have allowed it.
Later.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I should have allowed it. So shout out to all those girls out there that are like, no thanks to stuff like that's really a guy does not want to hear it. You know what I mean? Trust me. If you asked a girl to do something even minutely small for her, what would you want her to say? Yes, thank you. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's so true. So you wouldn't ask unless you wanted to. So good lesson to everybody out there. And for me today, obviously I'm still a work in progress. We all are.
We all are. Yeah, and don't beat yourself up over it. At least, you know what's nice? It's nice that he asked. Right? Like, it's nice that he thought it was thoughtful. Like, at least I feel like that guy, I want to at least say, because I can't speak for everybody, but I think that's a good character quality that he asked. Then again, as I said, there's psychos out there. So I don't want to be like, you know, put
I
everybody.
know. Don't take, I did my due diligence. I know, what he does and where he lives, things like that, that we were able to validate a couple FaceTimes, of course, before meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's smart.
Like that. But it was finally time. I mean, what are you going to do? FaceTime forever? I'm not in prison. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus, we have to hang out at some point. It's a terrifying thing. You know what I mean? So today I finally had to dive off that bridge, for him and have that hangout. And he brought his dog over and we had that cool hangout. And I'm so grateful, that I did. Reminded me to, remain in my feminine at all times and to, allow nice things. And I'm glad that it happens. So it's a scary thing to meet up with people. I just watched an American Murder Story or whatever, American Murder Marriage or something like that on Netflix about the guy from Ireland,
Oh, no, I didn't see that one.
You have to watch it. An American Murder Marriage. I don't know what it is.
You can ruin this story though, Nick. You can tell this story.
I already ruined it.
No, go ahead. Tell this one. I want you can tell it.
I can't tell you the entire thing because now it'll totally ruin it.
No, it's okay to ruin it because, well, one, it's already happened, but two, someone out there is listening.
What about the viewers? What about no, I can't.
But, no, here's the reason why. Here's the reason why, Nick. We're literally in a dating. Now you can. When it's a fictional movie, don't. Fictional, no. Real life, yes. But go ahead and tell the story because we're giving tips out there for dating, how girls can be safer, because I think that's important.
Absolutely. Okay. So one thing that this person did that I feel naive about, and I'm disappointed in myself in, is that he told me his name and then his last name, because on Hinge it has your first name. When we started texting after a little bit of comfort sharing my number, then I asked, what's your last name? You know what I mean? And I already knew what he did. So I Googled his first name, last name, and industry. It was first name, last name, finance, or whatever it was. You know what I mean? And so that did pull him right up. It pulled his LinkedIn up, and I guess I just was a quick scroll. I didn't think anything of it because it checked out in an instant. You know what I mean? He said what he did. The company name popped up. But what he did for me is search my phone number. And so that actually came up with all kinds of different professional affiliations that I've used my phone number for, things I've registered for, memberships, things like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's interesting. And I felt very naive for not doing something that seemed so obvious for searching his phone number. You know what I mean? And before the name and industry, and so number one thing I've learned, obviously I hope that's not a no-brainer for everybody else, but it was for me.
You're telling me new tips.
Search the phone number, right? Ahead of the name and ahead of what they do, right? Of course, search the phone number. You'll see how long they've had it. You'll see if it aligns to the job, that they said that they do, you know what I mean? If it's posted on the company website, things like that, obviously. So all that checked out. But for him finding that for me, he actually found pictures of me as a brunette. And so he thought that I might be impersonating that Nicole Rodriguez. He wanted to have a FaceTime with me to be sure I was Nicole Rodriguez and that I wasn't saying I'm this other chick. You know what I mean?
But you look good. You look good both as brunette and as a blonde.
I agree. Look good both ways, but so unrecognizable when you see me with that dark of hair that he was like, "Is this you?" Pulled up a photo, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's just me with super dark hair."
Yeah.
And it was shorter or whatever. So long story short, we had our FaceTime. And I thought that was really cool for him to give me that insight about searching the phone number because it brought up photos, and old stuff. It brought up this old membership that I had. And it was a total 15-year-old headshot of me or something. It went pretty far back. Nothing like that came up of him searching, of course, his name and business. Okay. The LinkedIn. And you know what I mean? Those kind of, So that being said, I'm going to do that from now on. Smart. Another thing was the T app. So I had just heard about that this year too. There's an app for women called T, which is spelled TEA, get the T. And it validates you as a woman. You have to get on there and do a live video or whatever to show that you're a woman and who you are. It takes time to be authenticated that it's truly you, maybe 24 hours or something. And the app does not allow screenshots.
Okay.
It doesn't allow messaging and it doesn't allow image saving. All it allows is for a woman to post a photo of a guy and say, I'm either looking for tea on this guy or I have tea on this guy. And so I know. So
that's kind of messed up too.
Let's say that I search your name on there.
Yeah.
I have not, but it would be fun if we did it for fun.
Please,
you know what I mean? And we should, to be honest. For one, I don't think that I don't think the majority of folks know, your real name. I don't think that a
Oh,
majority of folks.
it's out. All my stuff is literally everything about me is out there for anyone and their sister to be able to put together everything.
Oh well, if they're doing the heavy digging, then maybe. But I'm saying that maybe just seeing you right off the top, you know what I mean, or swiping on Hinge, they may not know, like,
Oh, I tell everybody. I tell
Yeah.
everybody, hey, like this is I tell them like this. I'm like Bruce Wayne and Batman. Like, all right. In the
That's
work
awesome.
in the like normally in the work environment, I'm Batman. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I'm Bruce Wayne 24/7. So I am the same.
So this app allows you to post a guy, like I said, or find information on him if you want. And there are some women that have had such horrific experiences with men
Yeah.
that they feel compelled to warn the world. It's obvious that they're on their concern for other people's safety, that the things that they are posting are recent,
Yeah.
concerning, you know what I mean, things that people should definitely be aware of, but that may be hard to believe. Like one would be that this person is a police officer. So we just want to let you know that it would be very difficult to like make claims or get anybody on your side or even make a police phone call, just so you know. But this man hits, and he threatens and he does this kind of stuff. All the hot photos of him will be there as you're scrolling. And then all of a sudden the screenshots of his threatening text messages that say, the next time I see you, I'm going to kill you. You know what I
Holy
mean? Things like
smokes.
that. They're putting the T on there. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. You know what I mean? So if you've really had a turbulent experience with somebody and they're at all social and kind, a girl in their friend group is going to tell them about this, and you'll
Yeah.
likely end up there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's for our protection, and I'm really glad that I found out about it and heard about it, because I was super concerned with Pauly Shore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe other people that had gone through turbulent experiences, and I was very curious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I searched him and didn't find anything, and I haven't used it yet for any prospects. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know them well enough to be like background checking. I kind of
Yeah.
thought it was for when you were ready to commit to somebody and you wanted to be sure that they're either not dating somebody else, like those Facebook, groups
Yeah.
are like, are we dating the same guy?
Oh my gosh. I have a
You know
friend
what I
that's
mean?
on that.
Like there's
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean? Which is important if the guy is maybe acting like they're not ready to commit, but they're down for dating you, but maybe they don't want to move in. Maybe they're like not traveling, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
with you or whatever. And that's going to give a girl some curiosity, like maybe he has another girlfriend, you know what I mean? If he doesn't, if this isn't moving along,
Yeah.
So that little phase should be a huge red flag that you should just break up instead of doing research online. You should
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
just, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Like it sucks that some girls are kind of like ignoring that huge red flag and just
Yeah.
being like, all right, let's try and find, okay, if nobody else says that they're having sex with him too, then I'm gonna make him my boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, girl, you were haunted by the vibes. Like something else is telling you if you're going to this like forum.
If you're going to that level, yeah, that's intuition.
So I don't have Facebook, but someone recently told me that he found himself on there and he saw somebody digging for information on him. And so I on the Facebook group, you know what I mean? So yeah.
So quick, sorry, Nick, you got me some. All right. Two things here. One, I have a friend who looked up are we dating the same guy? It didn't have me laughing, but I wasn't laughing about it. But it was crazy when she told me. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, B, I looked on this site called Are We Dating the Same Guy? And there was like 8, I don't know how many girls it was. It was a lot. They were all dating the same guy and had stories for him for days.
I'm certain they do. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying. But I'm like, man, like that is wild that you all were dating the same. I mean, did you think when he wasn't committing? Hello. Actually, that was it. That was her red flag.
Of course.
The guy wasn't.
They see the signs and it's like, break up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, seriously, you're not getting your needs met. Who cares why? I mean, you know what I mean? Truly, it's sad, but true, and like you shouldn't go to that extent. So I don't have Facebook, but when I heard about this, I was told that it's just a forum that when you post the picture or something that people get to chime in at that point. But the reason I like the T app and why I think that that's more beneficial for gals is because you get to search a name. You know what I mean? And I don't think that the Facebook one works like that. I don't think that you get to search by name, you know what I mean, on there. So the one that I have, it proves that you're a woman, you know what I mean, for one, so that the user base is, actually that. And for two, I mean, it really digs up the dirt that you might be nervous to post about on Facebook because it's such a, public forum. Nobody's going to want to post harassing phone, you know what I mean? Conversations, or maybe the fact that they, you know, are doing some kind of revenge porn thing or the dirty details on Facebook that's so public. You know what I mean?
Well,
and so the real tea is in the tea act. All the details
Yeah.
about what really goes down with that guy are there, you know? So
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen, by the way.
I don't know what's legal about that. And I wouldn't post a guy because I have 2 sons. And I believe that people have seasons in their life. And that if my son ever did something that was even truly horrifyingly embarrassing, I would never want a girl to put that online. You know what I mean? And as
I'm
a
glad
mom,
you said that. That's
they're
like very
not thinking about that as
Yeah.
for the rest of their life as a mom, as how that could impact them through an employer or
Yeah.
an opportunity in their athletic career. I have to think about my son's brand as, you know, wrapped in gold, and on top of that, wrapped in glass, you know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, just so delicate, you know, and I want to extend that grace to other people. That's why I've never made one of these police
Yeah,
calls.
good for you.
Some guys
Yeah.
have definitely, you know, like infringed on deserving it, man. They've gotten there to the point where, you know what I mean? There maybe should have been a little bit more advocacy, but the first thing that comes to mind is if I would want my son's, you know, regrettable decision, you know, posted online or posted in a police report or put on social media for life, because it, you know, it's terrible, right? And I do believe that people change, that they grow, that they evolve, whatever, you know, and even awful exes that have done stuff to me, I give them grace now.
No,
because
those. I'm sorry, I don't cuss on here
person,
often,
you know?
but those guys are assholes, and I don't cuss on here often at all. But
I
those guys
know,
are real
I know.
assholes.
You're
So-
such a good friend to me that you know the dirty details and what I stayed through, so you should call me a little bit of a dummy too. But I mean, like, obviously, it is what it is. You know, I make better choices now.
Yeah, and Ben, here's one thing I want to say, just touching on basic, just very so slightly. There was one person I didn't care too much for, but you saw where I took, as much as it hurt, you saw where I took that stance of being like, hey, Nick, I love you, but my character pretty much doesn't allow me to be around that person. I can't fake it because I'm not good. I'm a great actor, but I can't fake not liking somebody. And so that's just where I just want to hit that for a second. But
it's so true.
Yeah. So,
it could have affected our friendship for life had I been more loyal to him than somebody that's treated me like family for all these years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was in a new relationship, and because of my faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Giving pressure on me to both forgive and to find the good and to remain loyal and to do all the things that are biblically important. That can keep people from dumping a guy when it needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, you know, my faith has really supported me in a lot of ways, but it can unfortunately keep gals in the wrong situation for too long. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's so true. And honestly, I'm going to say
it's a recurring problem, you know, to maintain your faith and live biblically, and also cut people off when they need it. You know?
Absolutely. I grew up in the church, but I'm going to say, I don't say this, I don't care because I'm going to say it. People from the church are some of the biggest hypocrites in the world because of the things I've heard and said and seen. So that's the only hesitation I would say with people that are super religious. I look at them even more with a skeptical eye because I've seen them say and do things that weren't very Christian-like, and you're calling yourself Christian.
We all do.
Yeah. So
when you remember that and you try to be wildly forgiving, sometimes there is a small margin of people who are in their body that God gave them, and that body has a chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
And science needs to help you realize the modern day, you know, revelations of science obviously have given us enough knowledge to know that those people aren't true operators of their vessel.
Yeah,
do you
absolutely.
see what I mean?
Yeah,
and so
I'm right there with you.
You have to protect yourself from them, even though everyone's God's children. They aren't the true operators of their vessel because of whatever chemical imbalance that is. And you actually might even need to protect yourself from some people, although that may go against your faith to help everyone or to be forgiving at all times. It's like, there's a fine line for sure, a tightrope. And I'm learning that more and more every day, you know.
Well, that's good. I mean, life's always, as my dad said, and I said this at his funeral too, nobody's all perfect because we're all human. Yeah. So it's
and sinners, and you know, flawed and in need of leadership and guidance, you know, and weak, you know, in a lot of different ways. Yeah. And so we have to look to strength from others, you know, from our Lord and Savior, of course, and from, you know, personal accomplishments, which I think is the number one thing that people go so, you know, not hard on, is they're afraid to invest in themselves.
Yeah, you got it. Look at us having look at us. I'm glad you hopped on here today.
It's true. It's true. It's only because you liked my dress randomly today. You're like, okay, you look good today. Like, let's get you on. Just get on here already. You got dressed today. So
well, I'm glad first off, you always look beautiful. I'll take you every which way. But I'm like, why not? You know, like you're someone that's been inspirational. You were kind enough, all this stuff that I have here, literally all this equipment that's behind me. Nick bought this for me. She bought this light here, which just knocked over. The thing behind me, Nick got that. Nick, you literally set up my day one of Amazon, basically. Like, I appreciate you so much. I love you to death. But you're the reason I was able to get this stuff together, and you supported me 100%. You even listened to me when people were making me mad about, like, just, not believing in me. And
of course, I've gone through the same thing, and I know that it's just I told you that one believer, that one believer can just fuel you more than you could ever realize, and it's always super timely and consistent. Some of my lowest moments when I'm just laying in bed by myself, thinking sometimes even maybe the Lord's not there, even maybe I'm truly alone. I get a ding and it's an Instagram reel, or something from you that you're thinking about me, and I know. And you are not alone. That starts playing in my head. Like, all of a sudden it's a 90s school dance. And it's Brandon, and we're having the time of our lives like Napoleon Dynamite. And that is like the vibe that you give me every single time. That's like unforgettable, and it's always the right time, always when I need it.
I'm glad you're appreciating it. I appreciate you too. We both are there for each other. We're kindred souls. The last thing I want to touch on, because I know you probably got to go. I thought Delano had some interviews for football the other day. He was playing at something. Tell me about that.
Really excited. Yes. So Delano, my son, is a junior at Saguaro High School. He plays safety and he's on varsity. He's got an incredible group of leadership in his coaching staff. And he is successful academically. He's popular. He's got a cute girlfriend. You know what I mean? He's 6'1" as a safety. He's truly like God's gift, extremely talented and amazing child. Now, I'm saying that, of course, because he's my child and I love him like that. But on paper, he's super successful too. You know what I mean? And impressive. And so what he's doing is getting his name out there through our recruitment season. And there's been some recruiters that came to something called the Spring Showcase at Saguaro High School. And there was a few colleges that by first name were waiting to, drop off their packages to him. Hey, Delano, we're excited to talk to you. We want you to check out our school and come out and visit. And so he was invited to some schools in Oregon, in Indiana, in California, and in Florida. And those opportunities we're going to, pursue. We'll go ahead and do our visits and see if it aligns with what he wants to do academically,
Absolutely.
But Delano is a successful entrepreneur, and that's crazy to say at 16 years old because he started his own business selling vintage clothing online on Depop.
Really?
So he's constantly shopping. He's using, investor capital, Mom, to go out and buy awesome clothes, you know what I mean, and sell them online for profit. He's very, very stylish, and he puts together really awesome outfits. And, obviously the understory of that is not wanting to support fast fashion, and his generation really loving the idea of reusing things and, embracing vintage so that it causes less waste, and reusing things, redefining outfits, cutting them up, sewing them back together, doing patches and, all that kind of fun stuff. He's doing all of that and just making an absolute racket by selling vintage clothing online. So does that make him academically inclined to want to do anything else when he's already a successful entrepreneur at 16 years old with a paid off car and obviously like endless capital? No, I created Malibu's Most Wanted, you know what I mean? Essentially. So we need to scale back a lot, you know what I mean? And I've realized that I've created the monster that, is right now. And
but it's an entrepreneurship monster.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? And I think that the only thing that it is that I never included dialogue about how important the academics are to becoming a successful football star. You know what I mean? Like truly, because they're looking at grades and they're looking at your commitment and they're looking at your, you know what I mean, that your commitment to the programs and how you're doing academically. He really needs to be a star student above, being a star athlete. And because that wasn't that important to me, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't that important to me to become successful. I didn't even, have to have a bachelor's degree to have my own business. I don't want him to say that he doesn't, you know what I mean, need it per se. But I want him to have the college experience as well, right? Just out of the goodness of my heart and to set him up for life. So we're on that fence about, is this important? Is this what he should be doing right now? Is there service in the military that's maybe a better fit for him? Should he go all in with, something NIL related and represent brands and do something more online instead of the true athlete's, direction? He's got the whole world in front of him. So it's so exciting, right? It's an exciting time.
Yeah, I'm excited for him too. And I just want to give my friends a shout out, my Marine friends a shout out, my military friends a shout out, but my Marine buddies.
They were there,
Yes, Dave Ballman, Corey Blackman, Chad Cunningham, Lieutenant Colonel Chad Cunningham, Major David Ballman, Corey Blackman, who's I believe gunnery sergeant, and then Josh Greb, Lieutenant. Josh Greb's either Lieutenant Colonel too, I think. They're my friends from college that I wrote them. I said, hey, look, I spoke to you, and I said, hey guys, look, I know that you guys went to college through the military. Could you possibly come on? Those guys contacted me. I didn't talk to Chad in 6 or 7 years. Chad hit me back within, I think, 5-10 minutes. Dave hit me back within 5 minutes. Brandon, I'll come on in an hour. Chad was like, Brandon, I'll be on in an hour 30. And then first of all, I love them so much for that. Corey got back to me too. He's like, hey, Corey's like, hey, Brandon, I'm with the son right now. His son has autism. Miles, my nephew, who I love to death. But she was doing something with Miles at the time, so he couldn't. But he's like, Brandon, I got you at this time. I can come on and do then. And then Josh Greb, who was flying, he still flies Cobra helicopters. He's like, Brandon, I'm flying right. He wasn't flying at that moment, but he's like, hey, Brandon, look, I'm right now pretty much flying the Cobras in New Jersey. I'll come on as soon as I can. That to me defined what I already knew. They were some of the best men in the world that I could ever have as friends. But for them willing to be able to not do that just for me, but to at least give you guys, not just for you all, that information, because there's so many families there right now and people out there trying to figure out how they can pay for college and all that. They came on and did that, and that speaks to the character of those men, and then the branches that they decided to go to, but they were willing to do that, and that's why they've been some of my best friends since college.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And one little gem of information could really set somebody up. You never know when a 5-second thing that you have to say could change somebody's life. You truly never know. Just like I said, with all those influencers that had that power over me, there's a million different things that they said, but it was in that moment that it mattered when I heard, you know what I mean? I hope that there's somebody out there that goes and buys their first drone after hearing this episode, you know what I mean? Their passions. I hope there's somebody out there that isn't scared to potentially maybe be a single mom and think that, you know, something like having your own business is impossible unless you had a spouse to help. It's not impossible. You know what I mean? And there's all kinds of things that you can do and succeed at in life that you can do on your own. It's a little bit scary, but I would say that was one of my biggest fears, was wondering if I truly could do it on my own. And I'm so excited I made the jump.
Nick, you are a beautiful human being. I am so proud of you. You have been able to do that. You are an example of a mom. You're a single mom of 2 that has raised some incredible young men, young men, and you yourself have been successful. Everything you just said, you are the prime example for any mom out there that's hearing the story. Like, hey, man, that has dreams of doing that, or is with some a-hole that she doesn't like.
Yeah,
you can do it on your own, and so I'm so proud of you. There's God knows how many obstacles you had to overcome in order to do what you do, and still have to fight each day in silence or whatever, but you get it done. And so I think your words, your Jerry Springer final words, were amazing right there.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. And so Nick, I love you. I know you have to get back to the kids. I'm sure they got things going on, but I thank you so much for coming on today. I love you to death. Hopefully I'll be there in June. I'm figuring out. We're not saying where I'm going, just keep that a secret, but I'm going to hopefully see you.
Can't wait to have you.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I'll keep you posted. Like, it's probably gonna be like every day I'll have to keep you posted.
All righty, I love you.
Okay, I love you more. You've been, Miss Vito, you have been amazing.
Goodbye, buckle up, universe. I'll see you again soon.
Hey, absolutely. All right, Nick, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Let me hit